really do want to dive into the overall trajectory of each of your careers, and I'm sure the audience will have questions at the end as well. But first, I want to take it back to the beginning, and this might be a funny way of asking it, but when was the first moment that each of you realized not only, oh, I'm funny, but I'm funny enough to actually make a career out of this?
What if I was like yesterday?
I'd be like, tell us more.
When I figured out I was funny was like super young. I'm an Air Force brat. I moved around my whole life. And when you are uprooted so many times at schools, it's just like, how do you win friends and influence people? And I just was like, oh, I have this thing that like eases the tension. But the commodification of that skill happened way later, like in college.
Yeah, I think that too, right? Like, only child, going to a lot of different schools, fight or flight. You know, I'm like, just tap dancing to save my life. But in terms of comedy, it's like, you know, you start doing open mics and bringer shows, at least like that's my journey in New York. And then I started doing colleges. I'm like, oh, I can pay my cable bill and some other things with this. And then, you know, that was like after 5 years. And then I was like, oh, I can book some TV stuff. And there's a thing called residuals. Okay. And, you know, you do that stuff. And then, you know, so it was just like sort of, it was like a journey or something. Like every 4 or 5 years, sort of like going to college. I'm like, oh, I graduate this and can do that and sort of make more money doing that. And then learn how to ask for more money too, which is like a whole thing. Yeah.
It's not a useful answer, but I remember the first time I told myself I'm funny, I remember I was showering, and yeah, I remember the sensation. I remember like the time of day actually, but I don't remember the yeah. So
Do you remember
there's that.
Do you remember who said it?
I said it to myself.
Oh, you said it to your...
In the shower.
In the shower. Yeah. It was like one of those meditative moments.
Do you know what products you were using?
Where were you washing?
Honestly,
washing?
probably like a Head and Shoulders sort of.
A Head and Shoulders
situation.
sitch?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like a 2-in-1 teenage boy sort of like.
I was picturing Herbal Essence. You
Old
remember that
Spice is-
commercial?
I was-
Old Spice is
yeah.
pretty good.
Old Spice.
is pretty good.
Pert Plus.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that was a possible. That was like sort of like a trait that I realized I enjoy, but I didn't realize that was a possible career path till pretty late. Yeah. Like I never did like theater or did anything like that is remotely close to what I do now when I was in school.
Yeah.
Oh, you grew up in El Salvador, right?
Yeah.
Different comedy,
Different
infrastructure.
Different. Yeah.
Word.
But then I became obsessed with the idea of coming to New York and writing TV and film. And then I came here for school. I don't know. This could go very long, but that's the short answer.
Yeah, it's like such a journey. Like, you know, there's so many different moments in your life where you're like, yeah, this could work, or I could do this, or I should do this, you know?
I resisted comedy for a long time, and it was in college. I had talked to one of my mentors because I was getting cast in a lot of comedic roles during the summer break. And I studied theater and acting in college, and so I was like, I want to do something serious, and I kept resisting it. And he was just like, it's a gift that you have, you should lean into it and allow that to open doors. So although I knew I had funny in me, I resisted it for a long time. Yeah, it's a journey.
Why do you feel like you resisted it?
I didn't think that I've been plus size and black my whole life. Surprise! And so I think so often, like being the funny sort of brunt of the joke, I didn't want to feel like I was perpetuating a trope, and I resisted, I think. Yeah. And I think that I had so much like emotion in me, and I was just like, well, I want drama to be the vehicle for that. But I really like the mix of the both is where I'm most happy. Yeah.
And Michelle, why? No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was gonna say.
But honestly, like
Take over,
a
it's
lot
your
of people
night.
told me I should do, like coworkers told me I used to edit local news, and a lot of my coworkers told me I should do stand up. I'm like, yuck. I would go to stand up, but I would go to comedy clubs and like comedians would talk about being broke. I like money. What? They were like, oh, I couldn't get laid. I'm like, I like sex. Move on. You know, like. They're always high. I'm like a plus size crackhead. I cannot be high. I'm like, this is not for me. Everyone's talking, and then I didn't see any women, so that's why diversity is so important, because if you don't see yourself, how do you know you could do it, be it? And every time there was a female comedian, it's like, all right, everybody, put your seatbelts on, buckle up, we're gonna change it up. She's a really funny lady. It's like, look, I'm not a doctor, but I can tell she's a woman. Just shut the fuck up and bring her up. You know what I mean? Yeah. So then I was like, well, maybe I can do it, because I was editing them in my mind. I'm like, you should have said it like this. You gave the joke away too soon. Why are you laughing at your own shit? No one else is.
Well, Michelle, you said that you got your start in local news. And how did that shift happen where you decided, okay, I am actually going to carve out a career in this and leave local news behind?
I mean, well, 9/11 happened, and I was editing 9/11, and I was like, I could die, so I should start living.
Wow, really? That's what
Do
it was?
it.
Wow.
Yeah, I started in 2001. Some of y'all weren't even born. Look at this motherfucker looking like Usher. Where the fuck are you going with sunglasses? It is so dark in here, bro. If you're high, be high. Good God. Where the fuck is he going? Let him live.
He's in Times Square. Let him live.
Oh my God.
They're going to have some questions for you guys, the audience, afterwards.
Shit.
Ronny, I wanted to ask you, you got your start in Australia, I heard. So talk to me about that journey.
Sure. Sorry, I had this Diet Coke, and it's the gassiest Diet Coke
I'm trying
I've
not
had.
to burp.
I know,
Yeah,
it's
it's
crazy.
crazy.
The Diet Cokes in SAG, there's so much carbon dioxide.
Do you
Let
need
it
a minute?
out. Free yourself.
Yeah, I'm trying, but it won't come out. It's that one way it won't come out, but it won't stick.
Yeah.
I know.
I got one trapped in my Spanx once. It was the rough. So.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Australia. Yeah, I went to Australia for law school because law school in Australia is undergraduate, so I was trying to get it quicker. And then when I was there, there was a comedy competition at university. That's what we call colleges there. And then I signed up, and then I would chicken out every year. And then the last year of my law degree, I was like, if I don't do it now, I'm never gonna do it. So I just did it, and then I ended up winning it. And then I wanted to test myself outside of university with strangers, and so I made an effort to like go outside my comfort zone and not do it in front of friends and family, and not even tell anyone I was doing it, and just do it in the real world a lot. And Australia's comedy style is very much like UK, in that we would call it in America, we call it like one man or one woman shows, but in Australia, that's just the way we do comedy. It's a comedy festival format. So stuff like Hannah Gadsby's Nanette is a very kind of typical style of that. And so that it's a style that like when you hit it well, you can deal with a lot of themes in a show. But then when it can make you a little indulgent in terms of you get a bit long-winded. Versus America, where everything's very short, especially in New York City, everything's kind of 10-minute spots. And in America, I kind of developed to get on late night TV show, so it became a lot quicker. So Australia's and the UK is a little bit more storytelling format, and so for me, I kind of came up in that style. So that's kind of how I developed the comedy. But I mean, just like Julio, like growing up outside America, doing comedy, my dream was to come to New York City specifically to do comedy. So it's always been a dream to come here to do it. So that's how I managed to orientate myself towards this way. But also, also because Trevor Noah hired me on The Daily Show, and so that's how I managed to come to New York City. Yeah. And he really stuck his neck out for me because he had, and I asked him this all the time.
Is he single? Like, what do we know? Like, what's happening with him?
Oh, what's
going on with him?
Girl, I didn't see that question before we came here. Girl, who
I
posed that
interrupted. Sorry.
question?
No. I mean,
Wait, is he?
Hey, he's
Do we know?
not.
He's not.
He's
Okay.
not. Yeah.
Is he happy?
Yes, he is. He is.
Is he happy?
He's very happy.
Is what he says, or you've had dinner with him?
I play pickleball with him sometimes.
pickleball.
Yeah.
What a flex.
And
This is the exclusive we're getting from this conversation.
and he's a great guy, and I don't really ask about his private life, but as far as I know, he's very single. So go.
Oh, well, we'll talk.
Hit him up on IG. Yeah. But yeah, he stuck his neck out for me, and he didn't have to, but he really wanted to see an Asian person on The Daily Show, and I wasn't even his good friend or anything, and I was telling him like, man, I'm sure you have people who are funnier than me who you know better, and he was like, no, not really, and he got me. So he brought me on the show, and the only reason I managed to go on the show is because Trevor Noah wanted to have some Asian guy on the show, just because he said there's like 2 billion Asian people, and there's no one in comedy for that. And so Trevor's the guy who did it.
Absolutely.
He's the guy who, and he didn't have to. He did not have to do that.
Yeah.
And if he didn't do that, I wouldn't be at SAG right now drinking Diet Cokes,
Were you already in the States?
No, I wasn't. I came because of a day. I got the.
Oh my
So
God.
how did you know? How did he find you?
I was doing comedy in Australia, and I got invited to the Just for Laughs Comedy Festival in Montreal,
JFL.
which JFL is great. Unfortunately, a little bit of a shadow of what it once was. But when I went there, I managed to do a show with Trevor, and he saw me, and then we didn't speak for 2 years, and 2 years later, he asked me to audition for The Daily Show.
And they got you a visa.
That's what happened, yeah. So it was just, I mean, I don't know what SAG people can get out of that, but, just everything is random and there's no, whatever.
And you could be spotted anywhere.
Yeah,
and
can be
you
spotted,
could be
yeah.
discovered
Say yes.
anywhere, which is great.
Say yes.
Have a Diet Coke.
Yes to Diet Coke. Yeah.
You've all spoken a little bit about adversity and overcoming that in order to get to this stage of where you are. How would you describe those early years kind of grinding away? What's a part of the work that maybe people on the outside, not here, but on the outside of entertainment and media, that they don't see goes into being in comedy, being in entertainment, being in this space? What were those early years like?
Lord. Yeah. Hard.
Yeah.
I got in tremendous credit card debt, trying to survive New York. I was a high school theater teacher in the Bronx. I taught theater for just the 4 years. Wow. And that was my day gig because I would be a terrible waitress. I have ADHD. So I was glad that my bread job was remotely related to what I was doing, but it was really hard to leave that and just jump in and invest in myself. A lot of just hustling, working nonstop, but it was the happiest I couldn't have been happier because I was walking in my purpose. I was doing what I know I was put on this planet to do. But I had so many gig jobs. I babysat. I pretended I went to Barnes and Nobles and got HTML for Dummies to build a website for someone. Lied to them, told them I could, didn't. I was just trying to.
So much bluffing.
So much
So much to
bluffing.
rich people. So much bluffing to rich people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen, but I think that the joy of the pursuit of this thing that we've all dedicated our life to made me bet on myself, and it gave me I was happy. I was happy to do it, but it was very difficult at times to see where I am now. I never saw where to be completely transparent. I never saw where I am now.
It's like blind faith.
Yeah, it's blind faith. Yeah. I just knew I wanted to do what I loved for a living. It wasn't about awards. It wasn't about anything. I was just I want to do what I love for a living. Yeah. And everything else that's been happening as a product of that just feels like, icing.
I mean, you got to get creative, right? And it's not even create something. It's get creative with your life. How are you going to survive? How are you going to do this? How are you going to accept rejection? How are you going to keep going? How are you going to put yourself out there? How are you going to manage your expectations? Manage your expectations. Nobody owes you shit. You owe yourself everything. You're in competition with yourself. You know what I mean? And so, whatever the fuck it is, that person doesn't owe you anything. There's somebody else out there that could help you, would help you. But the thing is, nobody wants to help someone who's going to complain, be so undeniably talented and crazy good for the part that they got to find you 2 years later.
Yeah.
Because they know that you're just standing in something that they want to be next to. You know what I mean?
No, I'm very replaceable. But
But like also like be prepared to miss shit. Like I miss birthdays and dinners. I miss my cousin's wedding.
Weddings,
I was like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm out
Yeah.
here. I'm sorry, but I'm pursuing this thing and I don't fucking know why. I don't know where I'm gonna end up. I just know I have to.
Julio, please.
Your Daily Showness is coming up. Thank you.
interested.
You saw me with my mouth half open. Like,
No, I'm very interested in your answer.
Oh
'cause,
yeah.
Salvador.
I think New York is so challenging for anyone, and especially the artist or the aspiring artist. Even though I don't like the idea of like us like, because you should just be doing what you're doing, right? It's so and I these past years I've had like really this like horrible feeling that where I ask myself like, if I had come to the States and New York as an international student right now and aspired to do what I am doing now, would that be possible? And the answer is kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And the city is just becoming so expensive for anyone to be here, and it's like there's an election coming, mayoral election. Because it's like we don't want it to just be all CVS's and Walgreens, with all due respect to CVS and Walgreens, but it's like if cool people can't live here, it's not gonna be a cool city. Yeah.
I will say, you mentioned JFL, and I'm reminded of Patton Oswalt. When I did JFL a long time ago, he did like the keynote speech, and he talked about,
We don't need you.
yeah, we don't. Yeah. And like
So you better clarify that. They just heard me say we don't need you, but you gotta clarify that. You gotta
What's the
clarify.
title of the lecture? I take it.
The point is that like, so often we put our fate in other people's hands when we have an entire movie studio on our iPhone. And so taking the reins and creating is defiant when we're in a city, in LA particularly right now. There's so many gatekeepers that purport to have the keys to our future, but we can create and do things on our own. And that is art. That is, you're a working actor, you are a writer, you are a director, you are a producer. You don't have to wait for other people to give you that title, and you can own that. And so I think that is, as dismal as it is right now, you have power. There's still power.
Yeah, and you got to get over it. If you're having the same conversation about feeling like an imposter or whatever the fuck it is, if it's been a year, fucking stop. Stop. Nobody wants to hear that shit. Your therapist is over it. Everyone's over it. You do. You got to believe in you. You fucking do it. Stop.
Damn.
Stop.
I'm also a firm believer in like enough getting coffees to pick people's brain.
Oh, don't pick my brain. I need my brain.
Just go
picking
do
the brains.
it. Just go do it.
The picking the brains is tough. The picking the brains meeting
So don't pick the brain.
is kind of fucked because
I have a different opinion.
no, I'll tell you. No. This is
What?
where.
Welcome to The View.
Yeah. This is where picking the brains is okay. Picking the brains is okay when it's a hyper-specific industry question, like
Did you like
not for
working
me.
at this place?
right.
Yes.
Like, I'm about to interview here. Is this place okay?
Yeah.
But
not
A
like
reference. A reference.
Very specific. Pick your brains. Great.
I have parameters for my pick. Here's the thing.
What's your pick?
I have a teacher background, obviously, and I mentor a ton now, and I have tons of
So you're
conversations.
into the reference letter culture.
I am,
and, like,
yes.
Yeah, okay.
I have them saved. But I always say, come with questions that I haven't answered in interviews. So they have to actually do the work to understand, because I give a lot out for free in conversations and in interviews. So then they can come in and be like, okay, you said this in Variety, what did you mean? And they come in, like you said, with that specificity. But I do believe in the sharing of knowledge and sending the elevator back down and bringing people up. Yeah. And I think it really requires the courage of the one that's wanting to do the picking to really dig down about what they want and what they need to know. And that's the harder work. Don't show up and expect me to give you your map. You need to come in with specific questions. And I think that is value add.
Right.
Okay, I like that pick.
Okay, thank you.
I know
We'll allow it.
a
Jordan
few of you
Peterson.
guys, I don't remember who mentioned it, but someone mentioned gatekeepers in the industry. So I just want to touch a little bit on that. And I guess any sort of just specific or solid advice for people. How do you get past the gatekeepers, or what do you do when you feel like there is a legitimate roadblock?
Make your own fucking road. Right.
that.
You know, like I've never got past at the Comedy Cellar. I don't think I ever tried. I never got past the Comedy Store. Like when you're a comedian, these are like these institutions you're supposed to go play in order to feel like a real comedian. No, you don't get to define how I feel. You don't get to tell me how funny I am. You don't get to like, you know, tell me when or where I can like go up. And if you don't like the stages you're on, then go make your own stage. Go make your own home. So when people are just like, how do you do all this stuff now? It's just like, bitch, I've been doing it for 25 years, but for free for a long time. So all that free work will definitely pay off in the long run. I'm so sorry. I'm getting very Jersey right now. I think it's the Sprite.
I'm here for it.
I'm so sorry. This is very, you didn't do anything to me.
Yeah. I have never gotten a fruitful work opportunity via the expected routes. Like I don't, not one time did I come even close to like booking on audition. like never, not even close. Or like you know, it's like I submitted a writing sample for Saturday Night Live and then I didn't get it, and then 2 years also, like 2 years went by, and then like someone saw that I kept doing stand up, and then it's like, yeah.
I don't know how to. This is a very interesting question because on this panel, this is actually a very good panel for this question, because as much as Michelle and Julio are not part of the gatekeeper system, because they're just so talented and so unique, they are also we are all also part of that gatekeeper system because we got in the end, right?
Yeah.
So we're like system players. And not that the system fully embraces us or whatever, but in the end, we did manage to get past some gatekeepers, and we didn't at the start, and what, right? So it's very interesting. I don't know how to answer this, like, get past the gatekeepers thing, because I would say we are all, we didn't, the gatekeepers didn't say yes to us at first, and then they did, but we didn't say fuck you gatekeepers. We went into the gates anyway. You know what I mean? So we
Low key you do, though. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that there is power in sort of subverting the system in the way, I mean, talk about how you hire, Michelle. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
and you as well, like, you correct those wrongs and how you behave once you're behind the gate doors. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So to me, it's just like, I feel like an operative, right? I'm in there and I'm like, I'm in those meetings. I'm like, yeah, John, I love it. Yeah, great time. And then I'm like going into my rooms and be like, this room's going to be black as fuck. We going out, you know, like, we are going to make everybody, I want queer people everywhere. I want, like, let's go.
Yeah.
And then you look at them and be like, oh my God, John, I know this is nerve-wracking, right? I know. And then I feel like you're able to like play with the system. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, after George Floyd, any meeting I had, I'm like, you need to do this. You know, like, right these wrongs. You want our rhythm, not our blues. That's fucked up. Let us tell our stories. This is fucked up. So I kind of like capitalize on white guilt, as I fucking should. I was like, what are you talking about? And the last time I was here, I talked about this too. I don't know if you guys were here, but like, we get health insurance based off of our jobs. If you are not hiring people of color and queer people, how the fuck are we supposed to take care of our bodies, our wholes? So I was like, come on now, let's do it. And so it was like so fantastic being like, black trans performer, please, now, yes, woman, let's go. You know, like just having casting put that non-binary, give it to us, please, now. You know, like, and caring for people in a way that like nobody has cared for us before. Like even finding money in the budget to send the drag queens home in a car, because I don't want those queens getting on a subway.
I guess that's the answer to the gatekeepers question, because it's like, how do you get past this? Because someone gave me a shot,
Yeah.
and then, you know, she obviously, Michelle, she's giving other people a shot. Julio's giving other people a shot. So how
like
to get
passing
past
it
it?
forward.
Yeah, I think that's like the only way, like in our positions, but I remember being on the other side of the gate.
Yeah.
And I think, again, it's the Steve Martin quote that you sort of referenced, it's be so good they can't ignore you. And I think keeping your eyes on your own paper, don't compare and despair, and really focus on your craft.
Come on.
And so that way, they'll be forced to just like, okay, let me see who's at the door. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And trust, like, I love like the BIPOC sort of mafia that exists in Hollywood that I've been able to lean on and tap into if I run into a gate. Even still, I mean, because we still run into them now, you know what I mean? But there's still opportunities to break in, you know what I mean?
I want to talk a little bit about mentorship and just each of your experience with that. Michelle, you're making
There's gonna be a
face.
sign-up
Is
sheet.
this question for me? This is not a me question. I'm just kidding.
Listen, it can be. I was curious to know. Well, we can start with you now.
Oh shit!
I was curious to know if there were any mentors, because we're talking about carving out our own paths. The traditional way of going about things did not work. And we had to carve out our own paths. So were there any mentors for you? And if not, how'd you make it work? And how do you think that mentorship is essential to this career?
I wish I did have a mentor, but that's not how I was raised. My mom is from Jamaica. My dad is from Haiti. English is his fourth language. He's always the smartest person in the room. Everyone fucking doubts him. He's always like, don't work for a thank you, leave with a you're welcome. So, and I like had to learn how to trust people in my 30s. I'm in my 40s. You know what I mean? So like, I just did it myself because I'm like, no one's gonna do it for you like you. But if I had to put a face to something, like, you know, I loved Whoopi Goldberg. I loved Cher and Carol Burnett. You know, I loved Joan Rivers, women who looked like they just had the vibe that they had been in a lot of rooms that said no. You know, you're not, you're not like this patriarchal beauty, the standard of beauty or something, you know? And so they really had to like lean into their gifts to, again, be so undeniable that they would get the show. But I mean, no, it was a lot of looking in the mirror, like an episode of The Facts of Life. Thank you, everybody over 45. You gotta take the good and take the bad. You take them both, and there you have The Facts of Life. Do.
What about for the rest of you? Any thoughts on mentorship?
I don't know that I have definitely felt very. I think more than mentorship, a community comes to mind, and finding in the open mic scene, which now I'm like, I don't know if that's still a thing, but okay. Or if it's all like TikTok, but like finding like-minded people and community and just sort of like championing each other, and like that's honestly who makes the bulk of the cast of like anything I've done, is like, oh, these people that I've met along the way that I think are so deeply talented, who I like learned from so much. And then it's like, yeah, I have also met like incredibly accomplished people that have given me advice and stuff, but it's never been like, oh, I'm shadowing this person. It's always like you take pieces from different people.
You're also such a unique figure in comedy. Like, did you have someone whose career you wanted to emulate when you were in El Salvador? Were you like, oh, this is the career path? Or were you piecing it together? You're just piecing it together.
No,
Yeah.
I came here because I wanted to strictly be a writer's room writer.
Oh, wow.
That's like all I wanted to do. And
then you became a world-class performer along the way.
a world-class performer. A world-class performer. Imagine. Wow. No, I guess I realized that what I thought was, or it was pointed out to me that what I thought was like normal wasn't really like fitting like my puzzle piece wasn't really like fitting.
Yeah.
So then I was lucky enough to have people in those rooms to be like, instead of like throwing that puzzle piece into the garbage, being like, okay, we're gonna leave it right over here. And then got to like do my own thing right over here.
Yeah.
And that's where I felt like the most comfortable. But I did really glamorize the idea of like pitching jokes and like working the story, and then it's like
In the system, in the
yeah, but that I have never ever been able to be a good part of those.
Same.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buddha.
Ronnie, for you, was there someone whose career that you wanted to emulate?
Yeah, I was trying to I was trying to do Bill Burr. And he reached out to me, like I was doing comedy in Australia, and he messaged me on Facebook. Yeah, and his profile picture is a truck. So so when he messaged, I didn't think it was him. So I was maybe 5 years into comedy, and and he messaged me directly, and he said really nice things about my comedy, and he said, hey, I saw a spot you did at JFL again, here it comes again, just for laughs. And then he said, I saw this spot, you were great, really funny, hope we can work together someday. And it was a truck, so I didn't believe it was him. But then I was like, you know what, I can live with being catfished. I can't live with like telling that real Bill Burr to go fuck himself. So I said, thank you so much. I'm a huge fan of yours. You're great. I live in Australia, so I don't think we'll ever get to work together, but hopefully I'll see you soon. And then he said, hey, I'm touring Australia. Why don't you come open for me? And I said, okay, cool. And he didn't tour for like a year and a half. Again, like a year and a half, I didn't hear from him. And then I get this email to like, here's the show up at the artist's door. And I'm like, I'm gonna get killed. I'm gonna get murdered. This is a long con catfish. And then I just show up. I haven't met him. He hasn't, no phone number exchange. It's just like Facebook message. It's just so stupid. And then I show up at the theater, the artist's door, and I go into the green room, and he walks in the green room. And until that moment, I didn't think it was gonna be him. And then I opened for him, and so he was also, and now he
That is so good.
yeah, now he EPs my specials. He's production company does it, so he's cool. And I think stand-up comedy, for all its flaws, there is this Padawan fucking Sith Lord, like we look for the next person, and then you get him or her to open for you. And there is this weird thing with comedy, with all this toxicity. There's also this weird thing of like, no, this person's good, let's put him, because someone gave you the shot one time, so you always try to do that someone else.
It's my favorite.
And it's a very stand-up
my
comedy thing,
favorite, yeah.
It is
It's my
because
favorite.
in stand-up, you, like every stand-up is a door into a different world, right? And so it's like you see someone's fully formed idea of the world. It's like acting and performing and interpreting life and like a point of view and all these things. So it just, everyone becomes this like little ecosystem that you like. They're like all mini. For like 5 minutes, they become their like own little mini studio that you're like really
the best
excited
version of
about.
themselves.
Yeah.
And also, it's not like an acting role, right? So if you can't do a spot, if I can't do a spot, I'm like, here are 5 people that are amazing.
Right.
Figure it out. And so it's like always kind of like this shared thing. And
Right.
and even like if it's like a joke that you love, you'd be like, oh my God, that joke's amazing. Here's a tag.
Yes.
So you're like, you're
There's
always
community.
like,
there's a bit of sharing.
it's
for all
very
the
community
toxicity. There's
based.
a lot of community and sharing and stuff
I
like that.
mean, toxicity is everywhere,
Yeah,
right?
it's everywhere. It is
Yeah.
everywhere. Yeah, and that's my point. And so I guess that's really cool. I don't want to take up so much time. That's why I'm talking so fast, because I want to hear from these other people as well. But I will say, like with comedy, with comedy, there is this thing where I never put it on a pedestal. I never thought it was the greatest art form. It was my chosen art form. I love it and respect it, and the history of it and the present of it and the future of it. I nerd out on it. I don't think it's the greatest art form ever. But what is? Yeah, what is? But when you go to Beyonce is probably the greatest ever. But when you go to Hollywood and you see how much comedians are the backbone of all that shit, like if you just example the Emmys or the Oscars. The fucking showrunner of the Oscars was a comic or is currently a comic. The warm-up guy who's warming up the crowd is a comic. The host is usually a comic. It's comedy writers writing it. Comedy powers that whole thing. And we should be, comedians I think are best when we're countercultural. So I'm not advocating that we be put in front and be heralded, because we're countercultural punchers. We should be in the back of the room making fun of people. That's where we should be. We shouldn't be in front leading shit. But when I look at all that stuff, I'm like, man, all this stuff is comedians just freaking, and what does that mean? That means it's writing. It's writing. It's self-starting writing. It was all just people just writing, just trying to figure it out. What's funny, what's not funny. Is this funny? Is blah, blah, blah. And, you know, it's all that. It's just nerds just going like, is this funny? and these fucking nerds going like, is this funny? And that powered the whole fucking thing. That's why John Hamm can walk down the red carpet and, you know, be hey everybody and do this. It's because yeah, it's all these fucking nerds.
This
like,
red carpet was built on comedy.
And yeah, so it's all these comedy writers just writing it, you know. Like, so I don't know. I don't know what that means for everybody, but
Do you feel like comedy is an underappreciated art form?
No, I don't think so. I'm just saying I think there's a lot of power in comedy, powering all this stupid, you know, the government fucking running on memes and in Hollywood the studio system and, you know, like when someone needs to present an award, some comic has to fucking write this stupid joke. You know, it's all that. It's all comedy.
Powered by.
Yeah, it's
comics.
all comedy writing.
Yeah.
It's all comedy writing. That's something you can do in your fucking underwear at home. Just try to build that skill.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, you also have to go out there and test it. I'm just saying that's something that's in you. That's an in you thing. That's not a studio giving you a thumbs up. That's in you to develop that skill set. To you know.
For me,
And I love John Hamm. That's not a shot at him. He was the best looking guy I could
he's
think of in my
catches
head at that time. Yeah.
in terms of like the mentor question for me, I feel very similar to Julio. Like, it's the community that kind of raised me. But in terms of what you were just saying, so like George Saunders has like this great definition of comedy. He says it's the truth told quickly. And I really do think that's why I do value the comedy, because it is our collective desire for truth in short bites, and we laugh because we recognize, right? That's the how we acknowledge recognition of truth. And so as much as I love, I'm not a stand-up. I'm the only one up here that's not a stand-up. And I love drama and I love comedy. They're just truth at different speeds. So being able to tap into that part of yourself, you're laughing because they ummed me?
No. I'm laughing at how quickly I had to speak just now. Just I didn't want to take up all the time, so I was trying to get out really quick.
Yeah.
So it was a different speed.
It was a different speed. There you go. So yeah, I think that like chasing the being in front of the camera is not necessarily a comedic's goal or comedy goal. It's to be truthful, and I think that like feeding that hunger, regardless of your preferred genre, will always keep you like pointed straight. That'd be a good compass. And outside of the community mentorship, I've been in therapy, and this is being real, for 20 plus years. And I think that therapy and working your mental health shit out will allow you to find how you can mentor and parent yourself as, an artist and an actor. And so don't discount the value of that. And not that like my therapist, helps me write my shit, but she helps me get past my shit so I can write my shit. Yeah. So just make sure you guys are doing that too.
Yeah. I will never do therapy, and I've never done therapy, and I will never do it. But to answer your mentorship question,
Oh my God.
Such a boy.
I don't need that stuff.
Can
Yeah,
I
but
just sorry. Just to the truth of it all. So I took a few classes at Leslie Kahn, and she had this great theory about new truth. Like when, because I was like, I have to be truthful, you know what I mean? And I would like always tell people how I felt in audition rooms. They're like, nobody asked for that. I was like, oh. You asked me how I felt. I was like looking into your eyes, but nobody. But like, if you're writing characters, she explained something new truth, like a new truth. Like, what is the truth of that person or that character that you're going in for? Like, it doesn't have to be yours, but like, what would their new truth be? Hence the little like notes about the character on your sides or whatever. And so it's really fun to live in new truth, because it's like, well, how would I do it? You know what I mean? Like, how would I do that? And so as this person. And so I just wanted to like share that with you guys, because you guys are actors, right?
yeah, with the acting
Where are
thing,
we?
With the
Shake Shack? I thought there was a fucking Shake Shack.
with the mentorship thing, I think for actors, I always all my friends always complain about their managers, and I'm always like, what is the if you can't find a mentor, who is the artist whose career you want to emulate the most, and then you try use that as like a bit of a career path, or even go so far as to maybe pitch yourself to that actor's manager, You know what I mean? Because that's kind of like a way to get in.
And that's so great too. And you can
Yeah.
say, I like the so and so from
Yes.
this person, and I
Yes.
like the so and so from that
Yes.
person. It doesn't have to be that one person.
Yes.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
you can.
while you're on the-
Yeah, and
Okay,
then
I'm so sorry. It
you
hurts.
can also get
Okay.
people like once you get into that manager or agent, like let's say that the actor that you, for example, for me it was like Randall Park was a good analogy, and so I would find we have the same manager. So any job that Randall Park is too famous to do, I get the scraps.
Yes.
I get the scraps of that, and I willingly take that scraps and I fucking make a meal of, and you know,
Yes.
so that's like one.
Yeah, I call myself the affordable Sherry Shepherd.
This actually does.
You better know who the fuck you are.
Yeah, so that's a little acting career tip.
Yeah, this does actually segue into my next question. It's about building your teams, agents, managers, publicists, what have you. For people in the audience that may be looking for that step in their career, what is the, and Ronnie, I think you gave great advice on kind of seeing whose career you emulate
Yeah.
and going after their manager, some of their teams. Is there any other advice that you guys would give, strategically speaking, in terms of building out teams?
Yeah, I mean, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So if you're dating terrible people, you're gonna have terrible people representing you. So take a look at everybody around you, because every time.
That's a word.
I'm sorry, I thought it's personal business. What you talk about?
See this is like therapy. That you enjoyed that, yeah.
It's called a breakthrough. Okay,
A
Ronnie?
breakthrough moment.
That's awful. I feel like throwing up.
No, but it's true. Like not even half the time, all the time, every fucking time, someone said, my manager's not treating me well, they are also dating somebody that's not treating them well.
No, I'm not disagreeing. That's
Right.
hilarious.
And this isn't even just like for single people, right? Like, you know, like you could be married and like kind of in a rut, right? And like, it is a breakthrough. I promise you, like once you find your voice, you get on your voice, you ask for what you need, you advocate for yourself, you learn to say no, and that's powerful because then you let in a yes, the right kind of yes. You do that. But don't wait for fucking ever, okay? Like, you just give yourself 6 months to a year to get comfortable saying that. And you know what? And and I believe, trust me, it will show up. But like, do not have people that let you down. Bye. If they're not calling you back, bye. You know, one of the mantras that came up for myself when I first moved to this, and I don't even know what was I doing. You know, I was just wearing express bootcut jeans that never zipped, buying rounds of drinks with the credit card that never went through. Like, what was I doing? But I came up with a mantra for dating that I use for the industry. If you don't want to hear from me, you're going to hear about me. Bye, bitch.
I want that on a pillow.
When's your
But-
birthday?
What? February 11th.
Boom.
Boom. Wait, no. So the something I've noticed with me and also my friends who are like, you know, maybe just like seeking agents or managers or just got them and are like, there's always this period where they do everything that the agent or the manager is telling them to do because they feel scared of saying like, actually I'm more of a this, I think, or more of a that. And I feel like everyone that I know wastes an average from 1 to 2 years in that period of being like, oh, I'm like self-taping for this thing I really think is stupid. And then it's like, well, then they can see that. They can see that you despise this script so much. So it's just a waste of everyone's time for you to do that. And I think it's better to be like, this is the kind of career that I want. This is the kind of thing that I think is good. These are the movies that I watch. These are just shows that I watch. These are the kinds of things that I'm interested in. And also, like, anyone can only show you the opportunities that they have seen before, right? So it's like a comedy agent or manager is gonna be like really pushy about that Saturday Night Live tape, right? Because it's like it's like check, right? It's like JFL check, and it's like, well, maybe you require like more reinventing, right? Maybe you're like, I want to have an off-Broadway one-person show. I don't know, like something, and then like you have to trust yourself that you probably know yourself a lot better than they do. They just their skill set is not figuring out what you're good for. That's what you know. They're the ones who like bridge those gaps, but they're not gonna like Tyra Banks, America's Next Top Model, give you a makeover and then like sent you out. Was that a weird reference? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's about like just not being afraid to advocate for yourself.
Well, it's not so much advocating for yourself, because I don't think that people are out there like belittling their clients necessarily. I think that they like, or not always, but I think that they're maybe like not fully seeing what can and can't be done, or like what the right things are. I think that like I actually don't think there's any merit to doing an audition for something you're crossing your fingers you're not going to get. and the amount of times I've seen people do that, and I'm like, oh, then what is the point?
But and if you're gonna do it with zest. Just be like, this is for the casting director and the casting people to know that I can do something, and put your spin on it. I'm always like, do one for you, do one for them, and just say there's 2 takes and put yours first and the one as written second. So if you have to do it because it's also a skill, you want to get good at saying lines and just putting yourself on tape. So if you have the opportunity, you're like, oh fuck, I don't know how to say no. Do it and have fun. It's like paint with a different color.
Yeah, but also I feel like we're so used to, it's almost like there's like 3 doors that like agents and managers keep are like go knock, no one open. All right, go knock, go no one go knock, and it's like well maybe there's other things, and I think that like, which is why when like I don't think every funny person's goal should be to like create a show for them to star in. Like that is a goal. Right. But that doesn't have to be like the goal. Not every funny person's goal needs to be Saturday Night Live. Not it's like there's so many. I think of like actually Cole Escola, for example, who's like it's like I don't know what the journey there was necessarily, but I don't think any agent or manager was like, you should write a play. Not the comedy TV managers. They weren't saying that, Yeah. I don't know what they were. But like, you should just like be inventive with the opportunities, I think.
Yeah.
Natasha, for you?
Strategic advice.
Yeah, I think for me, like I think there's value in, like you said, doing the audition and doing it your way. I have a very acute memory of a Pepperidge Farm commercial that I went out for, and they used every euphemism for like black and sassy without saying it, and I caught it at the top, and I defiantly like just gave them the opposite, and so I was using it for myself to prove that I'm going to show up as me and not defer to what they want. But in terms of like building teams and all of that, you are the person who creates the vision. You are hiring people who work for you to help you execute your vision. You can't show up without vision and purpose and seek that from them, because they'll give you a regurgitated version that they've done for every other client that might look like you a little bit. So you have to be able to have a clear understanding of what you want out of this career, and whether it's like, you go in, you're like, I want Bill Burr's career. I want that. Well, you could really do that. No, you need to find people that fuck with your vision. Mm-hmm. I've been with my manager for 15 years. I used to live in New York. Now I live in LA. And I met her at a coffee tea leaf bean situation on 72nd. And well, not even picked her brain. She saw me at a UCB show, and I said to her, and I had several people, several managers that would come up to me after UCB shows,
And I would always say the same thing. I would say, I feel like I have matches in one hand and dry branches in the other, and I need someone to help me make fire. And what that is like, I know that I want a career. Like I said, I didn't say I wanted hardware. Now I say that because I'm speaking faith. But I said that I wanted work for a living. I want to make a living at what I love to do. And it was a longer conversation than that, but I was really clear about it. And so I think when you're building your teams, don't aspire to have a manager just to have a manager. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not the get. Because you could really fuck up and be with the wrong one, and it's not pretty. But find the right one. And I happened to find the right one. And I moved to LA, and everyone's like, oh, you should level up, get rid of her, and go to one of these big companies. She's got 3 clients. I'm one of them. And I fuck with her heavy, and I trust her more than anybody. You know what I mean? So, like, find your person. Yeah. You got to find your person. Yeah. And you also have to know when it's not right. I started with one group of agents in LA when I first got there, and I had to reassess because we weren't in alignment. And so it's a scary thing, especially if you feel like you're working for them. And that's why I say you always have to just white knuckle the truth, which is they are employed by you to execute your vision.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, I totally agree with everything everyone here said. I'm gonna advocate on behalf of agents right now, just to give the counter argument, since they're not here to defend themselves. But no, tell me tell me to fuck off if you think this is dumb. But yeah. So I think that Hollywood is an aspirational industry, and because of that, you cannot ask for 100% honesty from these people, because if they give you 100% honesty, the whole industry falls into its own asshole, because they actually talk themselves out of a job. So you have to cut them some slack sometimes. You have to be like, 90% honesty and I'll take that. Just, you have to learn how to talk to them, speak their language, they speak, and you form a relationship where you both can talk to each other, where you get honesty from them in a way that isn't, just rude and abrupt. But,
I think there's there's always a bit of kabuki theater in Hollywood, where they're playing a game, you're playing a game, and there's this performance. That's, I would hope, is the 5-10% you're talking about. When it comes down to dollars and cents, what's in your contract, that I don't fuck around with that.
That for sure, that you need a good lawyer. Yeah,
100%.
I'm just saying the day-to-day.
But if I get a shit part and they watch it and they tell me I did a good job and I know I didn't, thank you. Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
What I'm paying for you to do.
No, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So sometimes we come in with I came into Hollywood with Asian mom energy, which was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What is your job? What do you actually do? And if you come in with that energy, it doesn't fit in Hollywood. And it
really doesn't.
It really doesn't.
You get we're all part of the team.
Yeah. Really
everyone's a part of the team.
Everyone's part of the team.
So that I guess that's what I mean by I guess that's what I mean by the 5-10% slack you have to cut them. You can't come in with this immigrant mom energy of like, what do you actually do? Because if they actually answer you, they'll be like, well, you know what, Ronny? I can't do anything with you until you're a bit more famous. And I can't snap my fingers and make you famous. And then the question becomes, okay, that's very honest. So what are we doing together? And then the answer will be like, I don't know. And then the whole industry falls into its own asshole, because what does any of that mean? What are we doing here? So that's why you gotta cut people some slack sometimes. Be like, you gotta give them 10%. They're humans. They got a bottom line. They have a family at home or something, and So that's all I'm saying is you gotta cut. That strategically you have to cut them some slack sometimes, because
I get that.
We have a few minutes left before our audience Q&A, but I wanted to end with a question that we can go down the line and each of you can answer. But what is the best piece of advice that you received about comedy, and the worst piece of advice?
Oh my God. Girl.
We got time before we get to you, Michelle.
The best piece, and again, this is not advice that was given directly to me, but I picked up along the way. It's be prolific, not perfect. I'm a recovering people pleaser and perfectionist, and for me, one of the silver linings of SNL was the sheer amount of content that I created. I had to tell my inner critic to
park it because I have, 12 sketches to try to get on air. And the sheer amount of work that I created made me better, and my better got even better and got best, So be prolific, not perfect is the one thing. And then the worst advice, that's harder. Maybe it's not specifically advice, but it's just like the idea of like go to everything. Like people are just like, to be seen, you need to be seen. And I'm very neurospicy, and I know Ariel said I want to be where the people are, but I don't. And so I had agents be like, go, and you have to be out front. And I'm not, and I'm okay. Yeah.
Sorry,
No more events.
Okay.
You need therapy
best
to figure
advice
that out?
was The worst advice I got was to go to therapy because I'm trying to monetize mental illness as long as I can. The best advice I got from like multiple sources was just keep writing, and it's so basic, but comedy is a very iterative art form, I think, in terms of building the skill set. It's just you keep try, fail, and then you get something that's good, and you develop a sense of humor and all that. So it's just iterative. So it's a writing game. Even if you're a performer on stage, obviously you have performing chops, but behind that, it's a writing game. It's a writing game. That's the game. So you have to be able to write. If you can write, you can outright, the people who are not writers. And then the worst advice, I can't even remember what's the worst advice. I think it was. No, that wasn't the worst advice. Yeah, that wasn't the worst advice I got. I got worse. I have even worse advice. I don't think I can answer that. No one gave me terrible advice, I think. I just didn't listen. That's good. Yeah, what was the worst advice? No, I didn't get any. Yeah, I didn't get any. No one, everyone just gave me great advice the whole time. The whole time. That's why I didn't need therapy. Yeah. Maybe it'll come to me after that.
It might. The best advice I ever got was when I took a class at American Comedy Institute with Steven Roosevelt, and he still does it. And rule number 1, have fun. Rule number 2 was like, take your mic out and put the stand behind you, whatever. But rule number 1, have fun. If I am not having fun, I'm not doing it. And that's how I live my life. That's how I work. That's how I play. That's how I stay married. If it is not fucking fun, then I'm not doing it. That doesn't mean I was in my feelings the other day, and I posted on Instagram a video of me and my family, and I wrote, love your work, but work for your love. And I'm not saying it's not work sometimes, right? Because we have to do the work. We maintain our phones before we maintain our bodies. What is that? But have fun, you should feel full, uplifted, oof, I feel complete. That was good. The joke isn't where I want it to be, but I connected with these people I don't know, and I feel fulfilled. The worst advice, there's actually, as a plus size woman, there's too many things that people have told me. Lose weight, don't be raunchy, don't wear a skirt. People love to police our bodies and our minds. And so there's so many things that people have told me not to do, and I'm just well, you don't own me. So I'm gonna do me, and so that's pretty much the worst advice that I've gotten from a lot of people. I mean, I remember even when I wanted to stop doing this bringer show, this guy goes, "Where are you gonna go? Who's gonna want to put you on?" And I was like, "Am I Tina Turner?" And I was I really was just "Watch me," and then I walked away. It was 2002. Fuck him.
It wasn't advice, but I took it as advice. and this is gonna be really annoying. I'm gonna name drop.
I love it.
Do
But
it.
I one time I met Pedro Almodovar, and he said something to the extent of, I'm paraphrasing. He said something like, "I've done 28 films or something like that, and some of them I really like, some of them I don't, but they're all mine."
Yeah.
And could really connect to that of like.
good.
It's not about like the individual thing that you're doing. It's about like the breadth of work, and whether or not you can feel like you can stand behind those. I also like very randomly always think of my work through the lens of Project Runway,
Yeah.
where I'm always like, I so much rather go home, get sent home with a poorly constructed garment that no one has seen before, than being like, oh yeah, that's a pair of pants and a shirt, and they're nice. No.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. That'll
I
preach.
love that. Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time. If anyone has any questions, we actually have the mic stand right over there. So if you guys want to just line up and start asking your questions.
Run! Don't walk! Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'm just standing right here. Can you call him
Oh.
an usher-looking motherfucker?
Oh.
Sorry. The question is, can she call him a usher motherfucker for that TikTok? Sorry, just for the people in the back.
They was gonna play well.
No, it did play
But you
well.
took that
no,
swing.
it was good.
It still might happen.
First of all, thank you for being here.
Thank you, sir.
Taking time out of your careers to teach us. We appreciate that. What was your lowest moment since you're successful now? Like, did you want to give up, and what made you not want to give up?
I never wanted to give up. Even like 5 years of IVF and miscarriages and flying with needles all across the country trying to make people laugh while I was like trying to put progesterone suppositories up my hoo-ha. I hope I don't it doesn't fall out on stage. I had my tooth fall out on stage one time because I was supposed to like be home healing. I was like, I'm out, no matter what. And I always tell my kids too, you're never losing, you're always learning. So what's the lesson here? And you'll get through it. So even at my lowest low, I was like, thank God I have comedy.
Is it you're never losing, you're always learning yours? Is that a you original? That's beautiful.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
That's great. You guys need like a
Yeah.
Instagram like quotes account, just the quotes. You guys are great. Oh, do you have a lowest? Do you have a lowest?
What was your lowest point?
If you want to, yeah.
Oh yeah,
For
I'll
sure.
happily. I had a TV show last year. Now I don't. That sucked. But I thank you. But for me, I think there's glory in every attempt, and I am so glad it exists. And I think that it just fed me more to want to create more. And there's no I don't hang my head in shame, and there's no doubt in my mind that it needed to be out and had a time and a season and a reason. And I think, yeah, like you said, in my lowest, I've never wanted to quit. I've been exhausted. I've cried. Like you said, blood, sweat, tears, the whole thing. But I think it's like it comes back to Sister Act. If you wake up every morning wanting to sing, if you wake up every morning wanting to do the work of the craft, then that's what you do. That's how you heal. And I've used every subsequent project since my show got canceled to process that and to grow from that and to keep going.
Do you have any lowest? So I want to get to other questions, but I mean, I'm very interested in.
I don't know. Nothing like. Yeah, like I've had rough times, but I don't think I metabolize them as like
the lowest. Yeah.
the lowest is yet to
Yeah.
come. You never
Let's
know.
go!
No, I don't know. I'm like,
Not having the lowest is great. That's good.
I think that because I agree that I never was like, oh, I want to turn around and like do something else. I experienced frustration more than I experienced sadness, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Next question, please.
Amazing.
What was your answer? Yeah.
Oh, no, it's no. I don't know. I'm about to go bomb a set in.
Oh, you have to go. You have to go.
No,
Okay.
no. As in that might be my lowest in 1
Oh,
hour. Comedy is iterative. You have highs and lows, and I always feel like comedy is the only art form where literally one night you're at Radio City, and then the next night you're in some bar
bombing in a
Brooklyn,
bar. Yeah, for sure.
and it's the same material, but you're like eating shit. It's the crazy. So I don't know. Lowest up. Yeah. What's the next one?
I mean, can I just say I'm in awe of this panel up here. You guys are amazing. You're so many of
you're
my
too kind.
favorites. You guys,
No.
I'm laughing the entire time.
No,
I
nobody's.
relate
Nobody's.
to everything you're saying. I love it. I'm Shannon Shea Marie, and you know the industry is so up and down right now, as what everyone is saying. So I'm really blessed to be recurring on an HBO comedy series right now. So I'm so excited for that. But I really want to get your advice, especially. Can you see me for that? Especially Natasha and Michelle, but really open to everybody. Being not Ron.
You can only ask people of your race.
Okay. Well, that's kind of part of my question is being, a woman of color on the set is very male dominant, very white dominant. And I feel like I know the answer already, but how can I help make a name for myself? How can I build my character up? Or do I make, become big in the space? Do I kind of like,
I
do
think
my white voice? Or do I bring my diversity in there? What are kind of your recommendations or advice for that and how to like be in that space and grow ourselves?
I mean, again, I don't mean to repeat, but it is being so good they can't ignore you, and it's also becoming indispensable on set. Show up with your lines down pat, like be the first one there, be the last to leave, be seen, helping people out, like. And it's not, for me, when I do that, it's not performative. For me, it's genuinely like how I move. And for me, I know that I'm sowing into a future that I eventually want to manifest. So when you're on set, like, you may not be number one on the call sheet, but you're number one on the call sheet. Do you know what I mean? Like, move as if. As if.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah.
What she said.
No, but honestly, like that's what I look for when I'm casting someone.
Yeah.
Because we're spending a very long day together. And you know what I mean? It's a very long day, and we have to do it a lot. And you don't have to be a beauty pageant for everybody. We're all in it together. We're all tired. Our knees are tired. The food is salty, but we love what we do. Do you know what I mean? But like when people don't know their lines,
Time is money.
that's a no. That's a big no. And it's okay, like, if you get, like, something like, oh, I didn't know it wasn't my coverage. It's like it's great to ask questions, like, what are we doing, like, to the director or, like, the AD or whatever. But, like, when you are not prepared, that's a motherfucking no. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're going to go take a date out to dinner and not bring your wallet? Be prepared.
Do you appreciate improv while you're on that?
Just one question. I'm sorry. Just one question.
I will say I like improv in a rehearsal. Because then we have like, oh my God, okay, that's cool, whatever. But like,
I've cut my teeth in improv, so I love it. But I also love it when actors, on my show anyway, would ask, being like, and when I was on Insecure, for me, it was like, I'd always get one as written, and then they would give me a fun run every time because they knew that was a special skill that I have. So if you have special skills, tell your director, tell your showrunner, tell anyone in Village who will listen. You know what? I'm really good at improv, so if you need something, like, just let me know.
Amazing. Thank you.
I kind of have a follow-up question, but I know for both Natasha.
Sorry, we're doing this right now. So can you?
Listen, it'll be quick. As women of color, especially, I know that oftentimes you're working hard, twice as hard, 3 times as hard, and a lot of times your work is overlooked or unrecognized. How do you navigate that in this space when sometimes it's even someone else is taking that credit? You did all the work and someone else is taking that credit. Someone else is taking your title. Yeah. How do you navigate that?
I would have people at SNL repitch my pitches in front of me. Like, just like fully, like, just snatched it in front. Like, so there are those moments, but I have had to be very hardworking at not attaching my value to that success. And it can be really difficult to see yourself eclipsed by people who don't look like you, that have it way easier. And you can get frustrated and you can get upset about it. But it's a daily practice of reminding myself that my value is not anchored in accolades or that attention. I have to know what I'm worth outside of that. And it's not easy. Like, I'd be lying if I said that, oh yeah, it's a breeze to watch, people, being leapfrogged by people who are less deserving. But yeah, I think, again, just to mention therapy, it's been a lot of work of just like of understanding your value outside of this job that we love to do,
Yeah. Oh, yes. No, I'm still learning how to deal with that. I'm just still learning because, I'd like to, my makeup artist is just like, she said one time, she's like, ooh, you made a table, but these motherfuckers got to show up with manners. And I was like, yeah. So just keep people that show up with manners. Those are the people you want to work with. That's how you can like really create and sleep at night.
Love it. Okay. Thank you for that. That was a personal question. We can take the next question.
I love all your work. So grateful for this panel. So I started off as an actor, and I get a lot of things like empathetic nurse and Costco sample lady, and I really want to do comedy. So I was like, oh, fuck it, I'm gonna move to New York and do stand up. So I've been doing stand up for like a couple years now, and like as an actor who's now, I've been an actor mostly, and now I'm doing stand up. How do you I don't know, is there any advice about merging them? Like, how do you merge them, or how do they intersect? I know there's a lot of examples I have, but any advice? I guess you guys kind of started opposite comedy and then some, yeah.
I mean, empathetic nurse and Costco lady, I'm already hooked.
I know, same.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry.
I would try and get on like
ooh.
showcases. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you're a multi-hyphenate, that's like really special. Not a lot of people can do that, right? And so, do you have representation?
Yeah.
Okay, and yeah, maybe
it's for acting only though. So
okay, but maybe they can like figure out what the showcases are doing. I know UCB did some, ABC, NBC, they have like diversity showcases. Sometimes they're in LA. Like maybe you could fly yourself out to LA and do like, have your people just book like stuff for you, like whether it be meetings or even like, guest spots to get your feet wet and like places out there too. I don't know, but like it's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? You can even like tell people when you open or close your show, I'm also an actor. You know what I mean? Yeah. So just like remind these hoes what you can do. You know what I mean? Yeah. Sorry. This is what happens when I have a babysitter. I don't know how to act.
Are you asking creatively or in terms of infrastructure?
Yeah, my bad.
Sorry, no, because I interpreted the question differently.
I've just been an actor so long, and stand-up's newer to me. And I got my type 5. I'm doing showcase or open mics and some bringer shows. I'm doing that. So it's just like, how do you? It just happens? They kind of merge somehow. They help.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
You're not getting on the stand-up road, and that road will never that road will merge with acting, because acting is seen as like the next step by default, which I don't think is correct.
Like
but
that's
yeah,
what I was asking.
Right. I wasn't even gonna answer this because I'm not a qualified actor like these people. So, but you did, as you're talking, you like made me think about. I think the acting is such a superpower. So if you ask me how to merge it, it would be in your comedy. You would probably do like act outs.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Using your acting skill, that's probably like one way to merge it. Okay. But then so you have a superpower above all these asshole comics, because I can't. This is the only accent I can do. Whereas like you can like do different characters. So you use that as an act out in your stand up. But as a career thing, I wouldn't be trying to merge those. In fact, the more I do stand up, the more I realize like stand up and acting are actually two different universes, and I'm actually happy for that, because it means that whatever you do in stand-up won't get, no one's gonna cast you as the asshole stand-up. You get like a blank slate in acting. So people just go like, oh, he has some profile doing some dick jokes in a bar, but we don't know what dick jokes he actually did. Yeah. But we know that people like listening to his dick jokes. But
do you have dick jokes?
I don't really, but I just use that as like. Okay. I try not to make jokes about yes. but yeah.
Thank you.
You're two different universes.
Good luck.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful marriage.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Vincent Ford. Hi, how are you? Hi, Julio.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Hi.
I worked with Julio on Problemista.
Yes, you did. Hi.
I just had a question. Last year, I dropped my manager. I also just I haven't really done acting in maybe 6-7 months because of some personal things going on, but I feel stuck. And I just was wondering if I can get advice from any of you, like how do you get unstuck? I'm sure everyone has felt that way in the industry of trying to kind of get back on the train when you feel like you've fallen off the train.
Do you feel stuck, like making money, or like stuck creatively?
Both. I'm working 2 full-time jobs, and I'm just trying to stay
So you
afloat.
don't have time to breathe or think.
That's the thing. Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Is this what therapy is like?
Pretty much, but yeah.
I'm not unhappy. I'm not unhappy. It's just that it's frustrating. Yeah.
No, this is what I was getting at, where it's like the cool people have increasingly a harder and harder time living in New York. You shouldn't have 2 full-time jobs to live here. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But
I'm trying to change that. But.
Don't lose track of like the thing that brings you joy, and also don't put too much pressure on yourself to become unstuck. Like it could be as easy as like, I'm sorry I don't have like tangible like this is how you fix everything advice, but like watch the kinds of things that stimulate you, go to the kinds of places that stimulate you. If you have a funny idea and you're like walking around and you're like, oh, that's a funny voice, put it online. And
for years and years, I did stand-up comedy for many years, and that was another thing. I got very frustrated just constantly doing bringer shows and open mics, and people looking at you like, and especially open mics. But and people told me I was good. You're funny, but I still got frustrated, and I walked away from that too.
I think with open mics, find a buddy.
That's a good idea.
Finding buddies is so crucial to the open mic thing.
Because this reminds me of like when I was bigger and I was trying to exercise, but I was too embarrassed to go to a gym. When you're big and you go to the gym, everyone's like, well, she don't know how to use that machine. And then I was like, well, I'm just gonna like go in the park. But I found a buddy, and then like I went to Target, not anymore, but I went to Target and got like new exercise clothes, because I was like, oh, I feel confident in nice clothes, and someone's holding me accountable. So like, if you have the time between your 2 full-time jobs, please drink water and touch your toes.
Exactly. Yes.
To find a buddy to sit down with at a diner and just 10 topics go. Riff, write, just find the joy, no pressure in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that could be a start.
Yeah, no, it's a great idea.
Also, I think like find a buddy and then go to the heinous, horrible open mic and laugh about it with them.
Yeah.
And just be like, okay, I'm about to go and bomb.
Yeah.
And then you are there bombing, and then your buddy is like giggling in the back, and then you talk about how like actually that one part was good, and then I don't know, and then you start building community that way.
I do have to say, recently I watched Mateo Lane on Hulu, and I was always an openly gay comic and everything, but he gave me inspiration. I said, maybe I should try this again, because it was just something about him that just brought me joy.
I want to tell Mateo that.
Yeah, tell him that. Yes, thank you.
Also, just I want to bring up the and I want to know how you feel about them, but okay. To me, bringer shows.
No. You do something for a year and that's it, if that.
No, don't.
Yeah, that's a weird. It's just capitalism. Like people should not be making money off your backs.
No.
Like you can go. You know what I mean? No, we shouldn't pay for auditions. Like fuck no. This is
Also, wait. One last thing. Sorry. Go to the open mics like really off the beaten path for you, because you never know where your audience is gonna be. Yeah. Don't go to the comedy club ones. Go find like the queer weird Brooklyn open mics, and
even
then
like
you'd
Maria
be surprised.
Crisis. Like just go sing, sing. It's a release. It's joy.
Okay, we have time for
Thank you
one
so
more
much.
Yeah,
question.
thank you.
Yeah, one last question. Come on,
I'm the last baby. All right, so first of all, I want to say, Michelle, I'm your blended waitress girl. Also, do you know what I'm talking about? The blended family.
Oh my god! Episode 8, season 1.
Yes.
Thank you. Hi.
So, my question is, Natasha, I know you've done JFL. Ronny, you've done JFL. Michelle, you're doing stand-up there this year. I don't think you've done.
I've done it as well.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I've done it too, but
bada bing, bada boom. So my question is, I made it to the second round of characters this year, so I don't know. We haven't heard anything yet. I may be going. When you went there, not what did you get from it? Like, oh, I got hired at this job, but what was the biggest thing you've learned from being at a huge festival like that with all those personalities and industry people?
For me, it was keep your eyes on your own paper. Like I was getting, I think at the first day, I was like rubbernecking at everyone else and being like, is my shit as good as their shit? Like, do I need to tighten this up or whatever? And you can hyperfixate on what you're not instead of realizing that what you are and who you are is what brought you there. Yeah. So I think that was it for me. And I mean, it feels like a million years ago I went, but Sam Richardson was in my group, Rachel Bloom was in my group.
Oh my God.
It was just like a really cool space where it was just like we were all new and like green and wet behind the ears and just trying to figure it out. I also try to see as much as possible. I wanted to like soak up the comedy of all ilks. You know, I wasn't there as a stand-up, I was there for characters. And so I think my year was the first characters. And so being able to break, like we were breaking a norm in a way, so I had nothing to compare it against. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, I haven't been back since, and so I don't know what the culture is like, but I think do your best to just focus on what got you there, and that's you. Yeah.
No, I was rejected 6 or 7 times, and again, you know, and they were like, "Do you want to come audition again?" I'm like, "No, I'm not going to keep waiting for this ring that you keep promising." Everything comes back to The Bachelor, and I'm like, "No, now I choose myself." You know what I mean? And now I'm like going back to host a gala, 'cause I'm like, I don't leave my house for this unless it's like this amount of money. So like it took a long time, but I'm like, okay. So, you know, festivals in general, it's like summer camp for artists, which is really fun. Like, don't put too much pressure on yourself to leave with a deal. That's not what we're there for. We're there to have fun and create and share our talents and meet new people. And then all the other shit will come. That's my advice. Okay, cool. But they also said no to me.
Yeah. But yeah, just so you know, they changed ownership recently. Yeah, so this might be an experimental year for them. So just know that when you go there, it might not be.
That's why they have me this year.
Right. No, that's not what I meant. I just meant.
Where's the camera? Thanks.
Just meant
who owns it now?
It's a big
Elon?
Jeff Bezos. Okay.
Amazing.
A bunch of Quebecois guys bought it, so now it's Quebec run. But anyway, that's all to say. Like you go there, and again, what Michelle said. So you don't have don't have all these huge expectations on yourself. You know, just go there and have fun, and don't make it more than it is, and don't make it less than what it is. And what was cool about it was seeing all my comedy heroes and like being around them and watching them perform and getting inspired by that. You know, so yeah, I think go and experience it as a festival and not just like a
business.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it's weird because I'm so sorry, but it's so weird. It's like business people. And my friend, there's this comic who made a joke. It's not my joke, but he said like you should never see your agent in shorts. You know, and they're there and they're hanging out and they're
the
like drinking
is, it is the most exciting week for executives and agents.
They freak the fuck out.
Yeah.
They're like they finally like this like TBS executive finally gets to make a move on this like Universal executive and you're there.
You're there and you're like I'm just trying to tell jokes.
Well, thank you guys. So I'm so sorry to cut the
Good luck.
conversation
Good
short,
luck.
but we
Good luck.
are
Good luck.
unfortunately out of time. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. This was great.